Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise today to honor Pride Month for the state of Illinois. It's June 1st, and for the month of June, people all across the state and all across the country are celebrating what it means to be a member of the LGBTQ community and what it means to be a friend and an ally and a family member of people that come from that community. I certainly, feel an amazing amount of honor and privilege to be the first openly gay member of the state Senate, and want all of my constituents, both those that come from the queer community and those of the friends and allies, to understand that we are in a new chapter in our state's history. That right now, in 2021, we've got a General Assembly that really is starting to look a lot like the state of Illinois, and that is a wonderful thing. That is something that we should all celebrate. That's something that we should all be proud of, and it's something that we should continue to encourage over the next decade. Mr. President, I also want to say that Pride Month is special for me for a lot of reasons. I mean, the people in the district I represent are going to be going to Pride parades, and we're going to be celebrating, just the storied history of the LGBTQ community. Just to shoulder I stand on the shoulders of giants, people like Lorraine Hansberry, people like Barbara Jordan, Congresswoman from Texas, people like the mayor of Chicago, right, as the first lesbian mayor of a big American city, and then also people who are in the shadows, right? We've got people from, Mr. President, I would ask for a decorum. Thank you so much. We've got those in the LGBT community who are famous and who are on TV and who we know and who have that visibility. And we've got a lot of people who are in the shadows. Some of my transgender brothers and sisters who experience epidemic levels of violence that oftentimes goes unaddressed and underreported. I'm just so honored, and for this being Pride Month, to stand here shoulder to shoulder with my transgender constituents and let them know that I see you. I think that you're beautiful. I'm here to represent you, and I can't do my job if you don't stand shoulder to shoulder with me and keep me accountable, right? Because I'm here to represent you, but I have to be a voice for that community, and I have to fight for them as well. And I know that I've got a number of new friends and new family members in this chamber and new allies who will be joining me in that struggle over the coming years. And so I'm thankful for you as well as my allies and my brothers and my sisters. Mr. President, I also want to say that we oftentimes when we talk about the LGBT community, we think back to when Matthew Shepard was murdered in Wyoming 25 years ago, which shook me as a youth who was struggling to come out of the closet at that time and to figure out who I was. And more recent acts of brutality against the LGBT community really breaks my heart. I mean, this is something that we've seen, and we want to continue to talk about that and come up with legislative responses and other ways to show that that's unacceptable. But I also want to just talk about the things that we should be celebrating. We dwell on the things that are unfortunate, but with the LGBT community, there's just so many things to celebrate. We've passed historic legislation in this chamber just this session. SB 2133, I want to thank all my colleagues that voted for that legislation that will require 10 state agencies to start collecting data around the LGBT community, which allows my community to be visible. We've been invisible for decades and decades and decades. And I often say that we can't address systemic inequities if we don't have visibility to know what inequities we're trying to tackle. So that's something that we should celebrate. We should be celebrating the continued work at the federal level around the Equality Act and making sure that workplaces cannot discriminate against people from the LGBT community. We should continue to celebrate legislation across the state of Illinois and in other states across the country that prohibits the bullying of LGBTQ youth and all of our youth. We are going in the right direction in this country, and Mr. President, it heartens me on this first day of Pride Month in 2021 to be in this chamber talking about that progress that we've made. And I would ask all of my colleagues as we adjourn in the coming hours and go back to our respective districts to stand shoulder to shoulder with our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. They're in all of our districts. They're not just in the 7th District. They're not just in Uptown and Lincoln Square. They're in Decatur, they're in Pulaski, they're in Rockford, they're in the Quad Cities, they're everywhere. LGBTQ people are all over the state, all over the country, and all over the world. We always have been, and we always will be. And oftentimes we're on the front lines of social justice, and we're leading in all specters of the community. We're in corporate boardrooms, we are in advocacy organizations, we are in church pulpits. We are all over our society. We're parents, we're brothers and sisters, we're veterans. We are we are all over our society doing great things. And so, Mr. President, I thank you so much for recognizing me today. And I just want to, again, say that it is an honor to be here and to ask all of my colleagues to celebrate Pride Month. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator.